Just like having the right information is necessary to make solid hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a presenting sponsor of the Spark.
Since 1964, Memphis Theological Seminary has worked to equip men and women of all races and faiths with the spark to do ministry for the real world. We're grateful to serve our community and proud to support WKNO.
Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance has been serving the Mid-South since 1954. We've always focused on supporting our community and believed in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb & Pitts is proud to be a presenting sponsor of the Spark.
Additional funding for the Spark provided by Christian Brothers University.
This month on The Spark, our theme is technology. We'll learn more about a local organization with multiple clubs, a technical training center, and a summer residence camp for youth. We'll explore a state-of-the-art learning lab for teens that's connected to an organization enhancing the Memphis Public Library and a global technology and solutions consulting company focused on innovation, problem solving, and the Internet of Things. We'll also share a special moment from our most recent Spark Awards. Have you ever been excited by a new idea? Inspired by watching someone lead by example? When we talk about creating change, we start by sharing the stories of everyday heroes who are making a difference in their own way, so we can learn and do the same. This truth is the power behind this show, which is focused on business and community leaders that are leading by example to give back, fuel change, and create new opportunities for the Mid-South. I'm Jeremy Park, and this is The Spark. They have multiple clubs, a technical training center, summer camps for kids. I'm here with the president and CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Memphis, Keith Blanchard. You have a lot going on focused on helping youth. So for starters, give us a little bit of the context because it's a national organization that has a great legacy. So give us some of the history for Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Memphis.
Well, nationally, we've been around for over 100 years. And this last year, we served over 4 million kids. So you can see the impact that we can have across the country and actually worldwide now because we have clubs on military bases around the world. So here in Memphis, we've been around almost 60 years. We have 6 centers plus a technical training center, which is a very unique thing here in Memphis. A lot of unique things here in Memphis, actually. And we serve close to 4,000 kids here each year in the city of, in the greater Memphis area.
So recently did a study when you talk about the impact you have on, $1 is almost nationally almost $10, right. But here locally it's even greater. Share the impact, the results of this national survey.
Well, it's important. I mean, it's something we've been pushing for a long time. I had done one in Florida 3 or 4 years ago together with the Florida Alliance, and so we've been pushing for one here in Tennessee. At the same time, National started to do one. So it shows basically for every dollar invested in a Boys and Girls Club, you get about a $10 return. And actually here in the state of Tennessee, it's about a $12 return. They take into consideration things like, if incarceration rates and pregnancy rates and employability skills and those things, they extrapolate it out over time, and then you see the impact that it can have on a community and a society. And
obviously those are all the very things that you're focused on, right? So give us an idea of the programs.
Well, it really starts very basic. So we start at 5 or 6 years old. Most of the kids are in kindergarten before we'll take them, so around 6. And so it's everything from academic support and assistance to mentoring programs, and then we break it down into subgroups where we have arts and athletics and just about anything you can think of that a kid might be interested in. We do a lot of surveys with the kids to find out what they're interested in. But our 3 core areas are academic success, good character and citizenship, and healthy lifestyles. So pretty much everything that we do fits into one of those 3 areas. As the kids get older, we focus more and more on academics, and then what really makes Memphis unique is the technical training center, where we really start thinking about workforce development and how we're going to fill these future jobs going forward.
And before we talk about the Technical Training Center, give us an idea of, obviously the 6 centers geographically dispersed throughout. Obviously that's really important because most of the kids will walk within their neighborhood, after school programs, summer camp. Give us an idea of kind of the strategy when you talk about the centers and where those are located.
To be honest, that's one of the main things that attracted me to Memphis. Back years ago when we opened our clubs, we really looked strategically at where we would place them. And so we looked at areas that were underserved, where kids didn't have access to a lot of programs, areas where there was a high crime rate or a high poverty rate, and we placed the clubs there, which it really isn't always the case. But here it was very strategic in the way they did it, and you're right. As a result, the kids, for the most part, can walk to the clubs. They're closer, they're neighborhood based, and so that was the whole idea, and it's worked very well.
So let's go ahead and talk about, it's the Juice Plus Technical Training Center, correct?
Correct.
And it's focused on some pretty neat areas when you talk about automotive, culinary. Give us an idea overall.
Well, Jay Martin, the founder of Juice Plus, he really looked at what the workforce looked like here in Memphis, and what are some of the key careers that are really struggling to fill those positions. And so we started out with culinary so that we could help with the hospitality industry. He looked at logistics, obviously, because of FedEx, so FedEx helps us with the logistics program. Automotive, we realized that was a major transportation issue, was a major problem, kids being able to purchase cars, maintain their vehicles. So AutoZone stepped in and supports our automotive program. And then we recently added the NextAir welding program. And then most recently, and what I'm really excited about, is our IT program. So we're graduating our first class of about 30 students. They'll be graduating in May. We've pretty much every one of them has been guaranteed a job when they get out. They're going to graduate with an A+ certification. So we partnered with Tech 901 to make that happen, and it's really exciting. I mean, I can't tell you how excited these kids are about their futures, but also I'm excited to see the transformation in them from day one, and how impressive that's been for me, just to watch them grow and see what they're capable of doing.
Absolutely. Well, to walk in, especially at that age, be given the technical skills, and it's also too the soft skills, correct? Right, so it's not just, I mean, it's money management. I mean, it goes well beyond the technical skills to then, to your point, where it's like automatically they've got a job, they've got an opportunity. So give us an idea overall of some of the soft skills application.
The soft skills program is I think really one of the most important parts, because we take them on tours of businesses, we take them on college tours. We expose them to things that they normally would not have the opportunity to be exposed to. Just last week, we took a whole bunch of college tours, and you can immediately see the light come on, because for the first time they're on a campus with kids that look, talk, act just like them, and they realize this is not that hard. I can do this. And so that's why at our technical training center, we have 100% of our seniors for the last 3 years have graduated from high school, have either been employed, entered the military, or gone on to college.
So real fast as we wrap up, tell us some ways we can help. You have an annual fundraiser, Steak and Burger, which is a big opportunity to come out, see your work firsthand. Obviously mentorship, helping with tutoring. What are some other ways the public can help?
Well, we're always looking for sponsors and donors, of course. Financially, it's very important, and you're right, Steak and Burger is one of our biggest events. We also have a golf tournament and a tennis tournament. Penny Hardaway is going to be our speaker this year, a former alumni of the Boys and Girls Club. You're right, we're always looking for tutors and mentors and volunteers. Our robotics program, for example, we're looking for volunteers to help out with that. But just about everything, from coaching basketball to tutoring math, I mean, you name it. If you've got a skill and you're willing to share it with our kids, and we'll find a way to take advantage of it.
Well, make sure and check out Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Memphis. Thanks for all you do, for coming on the show and sharing it.
Yeah, thank you.
They're focused on enhancing the Memphis Public Library, and they have a state-of-the-art learning lab for teens as well, Cloud 901. I'm here with the executive director for the Memphis Library Foundation, Diane Halfon. And
Hi.
For starters, you have a lot going on that focuses on, obviously, the library. So give us a little context. Talk about how many libraries and a little background for the foundation.
Absolutely. There are 18 branch libraries across the city, so in every neighborhood, and our central library, of course, at 3030 Poplar Avenue.
And that's the big one, the Central Library, that is right by our office at Lipscomb Pitt, so I drive by it every single day. And there's a lot going on at that one. But for starters, let's talk about some of the misperceptions, because I think that people think, oh, well, everything is completely funded, but obviously that's why you're here, is it's not.
Exactly. The city of Memphis obviously has a lot that it's responsible for paying for in our city. And so when it comes to libraries, they pay for all the facilities and all the staffing. but every program, every enhancement is paid for through private dollars, and we really couldn't have the kind of world-class library system we have if it wasn't for private dollars.
And obviously that's where it's so important, the work you do. And I didn't even realize, just looking at some of the things that you had sent me as notes, but really impressive on the amount of outreach, the number of free programs. I mean, you have a ton going on. So give us an idea, everything from tax preparation, to there's a software or a website that, is it Lydia, that people can access for free?
Lynda.com, which is an online, if you have a library card, you can log on to the library's website and access lynda.com, which is a subscription service. And so a lot of creative people use lynda.com and they can't believe that it's free with a library card. So you can learn photography, digital photography, graphic design, all kinds of coding apps, any kind of creative, productive tutorials are available free. Everything the library does is free.
And so when you look at that and then talk about the tax prep and all of that sort of stuff that you're bringing in-house for people for free.
For free, every day. There are 100 people at least lined up at the door at 10 o'clock when the doors open. They're all getting free tax help right now. They can come to our free legal clinics. There's free one-on-one small business mentoring from StartCo, free computer classes, free job assistance, foreign films, art classes, you name it.
And it's all free. There's this similar thread of free, free, free. It's impressive. So switch over and talk about technology, because obviously when you talk about a library, I remember growing up it was the Dewey Decimal System, and now, to your point, everything is much more digital, and you're having to bring all of this once again for free to everyone here in the Mid-South. So talk about how technology is changing the way that the Memphis Public Library system is operating, and then we'll switch over and we'll talk about Cloud 901.
Absolutely. Well, there are about 600 computers across the system, and there's also about 250 laptops that you can check out for use. There's also hundreds of iPads that we're now incorporating into our programs. There's also ebooks. We have hundreds of thousands of ebooks that you can check out. So you don't have to buy them from Amazon.com. You can actually check out an ebook with your library card from the comfort of your own home.
For free.
For free.
So talk about Cloud 901, because obviously this is something that's, one, much needed, but also, two, very, very impressive.
It's amazing. Cloud 901 is a creative, productive space, 8,200 square feet of creative, productive space for teens. So ages 13 to 18, they can come in there, they can record an audio record. There's a recording studio, full recording studio.
So I can go in there and produce my own music.
You can, and kids are doing it. There's a video production lab, much like this, with a green screen. There's a makerspace with 3D printing. They're doing app development, they're doing game design, there's an art studio, there's graphic design, animation, illustration, all kinds of creative, productive things that teens can learn at the library for free.
And so, just imagine as a kid that has big dreams, whether it's producing an album, working on a TV show, makerspace, using 3D printing, all of that, to be able to come in and use this after school, during the summer, on the weekends. So impressive, so valuable to give them that skill, that opportunity, that development, but also too, when you look at it, the experience of bringing in mentors, professionals, trained professionals, local and even outside of this area, to work with these kids. Talk about that dynamic of bringing in the experts to help train the youth.
Well, we know that we can't do it all on our own. We've got wonderful, creative young types that are not your typical librarians working in Cloud 901. So they're really cool, they're young, they know how to do all these things, but there are only 8 staff members in Cloud 901. And to really reach the 50,000, 100,000 kids that we can touch every day, annually in the space, we need mentors, facilitators. So we are actively using mentors and facilitators in the space, and they're really helping these kids reach their potential.
So that's a great point to talk about, just how can we help? What are some things we can do to help?
Well, absolutely. Over the summer in particular, because we're changing the hours to accommodate the kids' schedules. Right now we're only open after school until 8 o'clock, but during the summer we will be open for longer hours. where we'll be running lots of camps, and they're all free. So you parents who are trying to figure out what to do with your kids, there's technology camps, STEM camps, there'll be music production camps, all kinds of camps. And we could definitely use some mentors and some facilitators to help out with those camps.
So tell viewers where they can learn more. How can they get involved?
Okay, it's Memphis Public Library. They can go to the library's website and learn about the library programs, but MemphisLibraryFoundation.org is the foundation's website. We do a lot of things in the fall. We have a Party in the Cloud, which is really a fundraiser for Cloud 901. So people can come into the space. They can fool around in the video production lab, audio production lab. You can't do that, really, unless you're a mentor, unless you're between the ages of 13 and 18. So Party in the Cloud in the fall is a time when everyone can come enjoy what Cloud 901 has to offer.
Well, make sure, get involved. Memphis Library Foundation. Greatly appreciate all you do here in the Mid-South. Thanks for coming on the show and sharing everything you do for free.
My pleasure. Thank you.
The Spark Awards annually recognize and celebrate individuals and organizations that have made outstanding contributions to the community. Our most recent award winner in the corporate category under 100 employees division is DataFax. Founder Daphne Large talked to me about how volunteerism and charitable giving helps build a positive environment.
DataFax is a consumer reporting agency established in 1989. We're in the business of background screening and lending solutions, and essentially we're providing information lenders and employers can rely on to make sound lending and hiring decisions. DataFax is passionate on a number of fronts, one of which is Youth Villages. Youth Villages does amazing work. It's really a diamond in our backyard, and they're now a model across the nation for others. We have found it very valuable to engage with them with their holiday program, not only sponsoring children, but the holiday program for the foster families. We engage on all the holidays, Easter egg hunts, 60 dozen eggs, so fun, Valentine's, cupcakes, pumpkins. So we try to engage with Youth Villages across all the holidays, and also with at-risk girls and the residents with co-creation art workshops.
And your team, you're baking the cupcakes, you're wrapping the gifts, so it's not necessarily you're just sponsoring, I mean, you're hands-on, you're bringing all these to life.
Absolutely. The Kaboom playground was one example. We were out there. I was in charge of, or working with concrete. I hope the place is still standing. That was fun.
Talk about Make-A-Wish. Make-A-Wish,
another very big passion at DataFax. It's just such a joy to see that you can have an effect on a child with a life-threatening illness. One of the wishes that we did for Make-A-Wish was just so cool, seeing the little boy's face. We all dressed up as superheroes and Disney characters, and he was just so wowed and amazed that we were doing this for him. He was very ill, but was able to go on the Disney trip, and he was so excited, and you're just so pleased to have maybe touched that life in a very special way. And when you can help change lives or extend lives or touch lives, you are the greater recipient. As a native Memphian and as a Memphis-based business, I think it's incumbent upon us to do all that we can for Memphis and on behalf of Memphis. You must be invested in the community where you live, work, and play. And we try to do that in Memphis and across all the communities that we touch. It's just our responsibility. And above all, I truly, truly believe that to whom much has been given, much is expected. And it's our responsibility to do all that we can for as long as we can, for as many as we can, and to say yes as often as possible.
They're a global technology and solutions consulting company based here in Memphis. I'm here with the technology strategist, Sridhar Sankura of eBiz Solutions. So let's start with eBiz Solutions, global, obviously in the reach, but also local right here in Memphis in the Mid-South. So give us a little backstory for eBiz Solutions.
Sure. Thanks, Jimmy. eBiz Solutions was started 10 years ago, started by my wife, and I got into the company 3 years ago. So our main focus on that is on technology, how technology is transforming businesses in today's industry, and as you know, how fast the technology is. So we concentrate on 4 areas, which is one is the business strategy, just trying to figure out what this business really needs. And then based on the facts and everything we do from the strategy, we divide into 3 areas, which is one is on the digital side, which is more on the customer experience on the outside, like websites, SEOs, mobile apps, marketing automation. And also it falls under technologies, which is the third part, which is more the building efficiencies within the company, which could be from CRMs to SharePoint, intranet, and apps for internal use, and the Internet of Things. And then the last piece is when we can't see there's a fit for both, we don't see a solution that's out there. So that's when we go and create from our innovation labs. We actually create platforms or solutions or products for that company to solve their business. So the approach is to solve a business problem and also to create new opportunities for the businesses using technology.
So a lot of technology, obviously, that's your world. So let's start with a little bit of the context in the sense that you alluded to it. Technology is rapidly changing. So on your end, it's a matter of how do businesses not only keep up with it, but leverage these as opportunities to become more efficient, to become more engaging with their consumers. Give us an idea of kind of what that looks like. When you talk about how fast it's changing, but how to use that, what does that look like?
So the bottom line is now technology and the businesses have to depend on the consumer's demand. So it's the consumer experience is the utmost important for a business. So the biggest improvement in technology is all the tools that are available now to really study the consumer, study their behaviors, right? And based on their behavior, you provide a solution for them that would be easier for the business to get that user or the customer and keep them engaged all the time. So you have different kind of tools, like I said, like from CRM tools to customer engagement tools, the social media, right? So the website. So these are all the different technologies you got to use. And for a company to always be on top of technology, it's highly impossible because especially for the small and medium-sized businesses, they're dependent on the core business, what they got to do, what they have to do on a daily basis. So the best way to do is either have a third party that's always embedded into their company. So that's like a consulting firm that's always on top of it and looking at all the trends that are happening and how this business problems could be solved. But like I said, the business problem solving is one part, but actually creating new opportunities is the most important part that any small and medium-sized business have to think every day in terms of technology.
So it's working backwards, so it's figuring out what does the consumer want, how do they interact. A lot of, obviously, when you talk about mobile, this switch to now everybody wants to flip through and scroll through and they want pictures and videos, so it has to be mobile optimized. I mean, there's a lot to this, but it's making it easy for the consumer to be engaged so that they can make a purchase or ultimately make a decision. So let's carry this forward because you cover a lot of things when you talk about things like beacon technology, the Internet of Things. Let's start with Internet of Things. One, it's a buzzword, but talk about what that means.
So the short form of Internet of Things is collecting the data from a smart physical object, right, and analyzing the data, and then giving the action based on the data, and it's everything in fraction of a second. So what it does, the action will actually tie in with the business goals of that particular solution. For example, if there's a beacon and you are in front of a museum and you walk near the museum, the entrance of the museum, the beacon might say, okay, welcome to this museum. Here are today's what are the probably what are the new things that are in the museum today, where do you buy tickets, how do you get tickets, you can buy right now here.
So it all pops up on my phone as I walk
Right
through the
away.
door. Everything is right there.
And if they already recognize who you are, then it's a totally different thing. So everything happens in a fraction of a second. So that's like a small example of Internet of Things using the Bluetooth technology and beacons. So the whole idea is, but they're estimating by 2020, there'll be more than 25 billion connected devices.
Wow.
So pretty much everything is connected. Your whole body would be connected, right?
We look at the watches now, iWatch and everything.
Yeah, your phones and everything that's on you. There's even T-shirts that are coming that has sensors in it. So within yourself, like everything is going to be smart around you. So the only thing that's not smart is you at that point. So everything else would be smarter, all right?
I'm wearing everything that's smarter than me.
Yeah, so that's where everything is going. So the small, medium-sized businesses or the enterprise, they're already in that motion, but they have to think about it. This is what the future. If they don't try to think, okay, how do they fit into the future? People will leave them pretty quickly.
So obviously there's a lot going on. Tell viewers where they can learn more about eBiz Solutions.
So yeah, you can learn at our website is thinkebiz.net, and we are now starting to push. We want to educate people more, so we are trying to push new blog posts, new articles talking about how the new technology is going to impact their business and also help. That's the main thing, help their business not only solve their problems, but also create great opportunities, great revenues in future for them.
Thank you very much for sharing about eBiz Solutions and for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Technology is rapidly reshaping the way we communicate, connect, learn, and view the world. It's impacting commerce, jobs, medicine, health, and relationships. It's estimated that every 12 to 18 months, computers are doubling their capabilities, and so do the information technologies that use them. We live in an era of constant change, and in order to stay competitive in today's marketplace, our youth, graduates, and professionals must be equipped with the skills and experience to utilize and leverage technology for success. That's why the work that Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Memphis and the Memphis Library Foundation with their Cloud 901 are so important. Likewise, companies like eBiz Solutions are helping to not only ensure local organizations use technology effectively and remain ahead of the curve, they're also giving back and using their expertise to make a difference in our community. Thank you for watching The Spark. To learn more about each of the guests and to share your stories of others leading by example, visit WKNO.org and click on the link for The Spark. We look forward to seeing you next month, and we hope that you'll join with us in creating a spark for the Mid-South.
Just like having the right information is necessary to make solid hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a presenting sponsor of The Spark.
Since 1964, Memphis Theological Seminary has worked to equip men and women of all races and faiths with the spark to do ministry for the real world. We're grateful to serve our community and proud to support WKNO.
Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance has been serving the Mid-South since 1954. We've always focused on supporting our community and believed in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb & Pitts is proud to be a presenting sponsor of The Spark.